good, everybody? We are back. It is your boy Jarod and your girl Gabby, episode 95 of the Kicks and Shit Show. Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
like the face. For those that are listening to this, if you could see Jarod's face and how proud he is of that sound effect, that is worth tuning in to watch us on YouTube. And just that alone.
Listen, I enjoy the sound effects. I think they're fun. You know, we got some good ones on here. You know, I mean, it's
Cypher, don't get gassed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I know Skype would be so proud.
Cypher would be proud. Well, as you remember, I had an original "Don't Get Gas," and Cypher was like, "Nah, you need the real one." I was like, "Yeah, but that real one's like on somebody's computer." He's like, "Yeah, mine." So he downloaded it and sent it, and now, of course, we have Flex telling Cypher not to get gassed.
That's why Skype's the real one. Gotta love my guess.
So, Gabby, episode 95. What is going on in those streets?
Well, I feel like I say this every week, but Jarod, it has been a wild week. Let me tell you.
Yep. Gabby, for those of you that I was going to say, out here at Coachella, you know, she just, you were at automotive something or other, something auto related.
Had a busy week. We had our eBay auto parts and accessories show across the street from the Javits Center at the Classic Car Club this week. Very fun. Thank you to like good friends of ours like Ricky Shubio, Space Camp Fresh, who actually just stopped by the event to kick with us, which
I mean, first of all, why wasn't I put on a list? Because you know that's like 30 blocks from where I live. So I mean, like it's a quick little train ride down. I could have come to the eBay auto parts show. Like, you know, what's up?
I mean, Jay, if you followed me on Instagram, then maybe you would have seen.
I mean, I do follow you on Instagram, but like,
I don't know. You got those alerts on for my stories, my guy. Am I right? No, last week was crazy. I feel like between the stuff for Auto Show and then working on a project for Coachella with Liquid IV, super, super dope. If you guys have not tried Liquid IV, this segment is not sponsored by Liquid IV, but it should be. So give us a nod.
Happy to get a sponsor.
Let me tell you. That's me. That was like my fountain of youth serum for the entire weekend. So Coachella is like a whole thing.
Oh, I've been to Coachella. I'm well aware.
It's my first time. So it's my first time. I also recommend. I'm at the age where it actually matters if I go VIP or GA. But I mean, I think it matters at any age. But like the level of comfort, especially like people forget we're still coming out of a pandemic. There were crowds. It was like. I felt like it was a weird time warp and, you know, everything was crazy, even with the artists changing. But the auto show was crazy too. Like Mercedes, BMW, they weren't there. There were a lot of major brands that like weren't in these activations that normally are. So, and I think like even seeing the press about the Revolve Festival that was going on the weekend of Coachella Weekend 1, it was like Fyre Fest 2.0 with all like people in the heat for 2 hours. Like the TikToks have been wild about that. So like, you know, being at the old Polo House for Liquid IV was like a nice change of pace, good crowd. Jack Harlow did his very first live performance of First Class, rocking some New Balance 550s. You know, it was
Jack Harlow really stepping up on the old New Balance partnership. He's it's funny, there's an article on Complex about, he's talking about New Balance and Kawhi and all that. Like, just, you know, look at Jack Harlow doing his thing. I will say, on your Coachella point, and this is just, you know, I have family members who often say that, Jarod, you are bougie. And look, here's just the reality of life, right? Like, and I think all of us can agree to this. We don't like to be uncomfortable, right? Like, Coachella, you are in the desert, okay? It is hot. The last thing I want to do after being outdoors at a music festival all day for 12 hours is camp or do any kind of thing that's going to make me even more annoyed and tired. Like, especially if you're like, you know, let's say you're not VIP and you're like in the crowds and it's like a particular artist where it's super crowded and everybody's like bumping up against each other. Like, no, I need like some time where I can relax, get into a sauna, get a massage. Like, we're not doing camping out. So I am with you on that. You need to have places, and that's the great thing about VIP, so that it's hot. You can get yourself into a cool area. You can get refreshments whenever you need, right? Like I'm telling you, like that's important when you're doing a 3-day music festival. And at this advanced age that I'm at now, I do not think actually now, even with VIP and all that, I could do a full-on 3 days of a music festival anymore. I just don't, like, physically, like, it's just a lot.
Well, it's a lot in general, and I just want to manage expectations. Like, I did not do 3 days of music festival.
You were
I
working.
didn't make it on Friday. I sent out probably 700 individual emails confirming things. The squad was like crushing it on the project. When you're there to work,
Yeah,
if
it's
it looks
very
good on
different.
this is how I always say, like, for what we do, if it looks good on social media and it looks easy and beautiful, that means I've worked my ass off behind the scenes. So
Right.
Friday, I had a delayed flight, so I missed my connection. I actually ended up
Mhm.
driving Thursday night from
LA
LA
to
to
Palm
Palm
Springs. And let me tell you
Springs.
about that drive, folks. Woo!
Well, I will
That
say
is
at midnight though on Thursday, no
not
traffic.
bad.
It was great. But coming back 5.5 to 6 hours, I could have
Nightmare.
flown to Europe, y'all. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
nightmare.
it
Nightmare.
just it's an interesting one. I'm glad I got to experience it. And I think, Jarod, the thing that you say, two things that are really interesting. One is about being comfortable. You know
Mhm.
me, it's why I rock kicks all the time. But let me tell you, assless chaps was trending at Coachella. Not comfortable. The last thing I want to do is put my ass on a sandy desert with grass that's gone. So, like, shouts to all of you girls at Coachella doing your
With your
thing.
assless chaps.
But it also gets really fucking cold at night. Like, people
Yes.
forget because it's the desert. Like,
Yes,
there are
that is
snow-capped
the
mountains. There's no humidity to like hug you when it's like a brisk evening. So, like,
yeah.
the reason that you'll see Coachella hoodies all over the tri-state area coming up in the next week or two is because everybody was fucking freezing at night
That's
and
the
you needed to hoodie
that's
up.
that
Hmm.
is that is sort of the I mean, that's Southern California in general when you're in the canyons or in the desert. Like people don't realize that. Like, yeah, midday, so you're out there during let's say this festival starts at
95
noon, you
degrees.
start yeah,
Yeah.
you're hot, so you're in your tank, your shorts, your flips. Once that sun goes down, folks, it starts getting cool real quick. So it's like, oh, let me open up my backpack and pull out my hoodie because it's chilly and it's just the dichotomy. I mean, you see 30 degree changes within the day. Like that's what it's like. And it's again, first world problems. I'm not out here being like, we're like really struggling, but when you're there for work or whatever, again, you want some comfort, and it is a lot. It's just a lot, a lot, a lot. But I'm
Yeah,
glad
no.
you got to enjoy your first Coachella experience.
Thank you, Drad. I appreciate that. It's been, like I said, it's been crazy. It took a long time to recover from that. I'm feeling finally fancy fresh, back to normal, regular programming. One of my pairs of sneakers actually did not make it through the weekend. I brought it though, knowing
Oh,
that it was not going to make it through the
it was
weekend.
a
It was like
beater. It
an
was a
old
beater.
a
Mm.
beater pair of superstars with a rose gold that I was like, I'm going to get these as beat up as possible. But I did rock a new pair of Air Force
Mm.
Ones. And actually, our friend
Mm.
Jacques Slade at the Liquid IV house was like, ballsy move wearing new Air Force Ones for a music festival. And I was like, you know what? I will say, like, I'm between a 6.5 and 7 when it comes to Air
Right.
Force One. If I was in a 6.5, I would have hated my life. I think I did 7 miles at the event alone before we even got
Mm.
to Neon Carnival that night and the festival. So,
Yeah.
but I will say they didn't get as dirty as I thought they were going to get.
Yeah, it's not as I mean, look, it's
It's an
definitely
easy dust to clean. Yeah.
yes, it's mostly sand, so it's gonna. But like if you have the ability like you do, where you're like at a house or a separate part where you can like kind of come in away from, like you're not trudging around for 12 hours, literally in the dirt the whole
Agree.
time. That I
But
mean,
I
because
got my
for
crep
those
wipes.
things, I ain't wearing no new kicks in that. That's no. Mm-mm.
No, but you know me. I got to match my fit and I got to match the outfit and the whole
Mm,
vibe and the holographic. So,
mm.
these were a vibe. And then I also had my crep wipes with me that I brought
Mhm,
just to be like,
mhm.
let me do a little ditty, a little touch up. But I will say, much more comfortable than I had thought. And like, I don't have a lot of Air Force Ones, but like, I now understand why Lowe's, aside from the obvious reasons, they're a lot more comfortable. And like
Yeah,
I saw a lot of those at the festival as well, because I'm always looking at people's feet
no
to
doubt,
see what they're rocking. I saw
no
a
doubt.
lot of Air Force Ones there, and you know,
Mhm.
it worked for me.
Do your thing, people. Do your thing.
But Jay, I got a question for you. What's going on in
Mm.
the States for you? How has your week been? I know you've been doing a little traveling as well.
Well, your boy is, not really I mean, let's say, come on. I love traveling. I just don't like traveling during a pandemic. Which by the way, still going on, folks. So I was in Memphis for Minnesota Timberwolves, Memphis Grizzlies, game 2. Got to spend a couple days in the city. Got to get in on Sunday. Just get a vibe of the place. And Gabby, you know what's so interesting? And you know me, I'm not some like Americana Midwest. Like I don't buy into any of those tropes and all that nonsense. I just don't. Like I think it's all bullshit and like whatever. However, there is a way in which the city of Memphis supports this team, the Grizzlies, that is unlike any other NBA city. And it really kind of ties into mainly like, I mean, there are a couple other cities that are close and they all happen to be smaller markets, right? It's funny because you're a Knicks fan and I can, like, you'll understand this. Like, the Knicks fans are fans, but you and I know we can go to a million places in New York City with people who either don't like Knicks who, what's that? Don't know what it is, or know what it is and couldn't care less about, right? Like, and it's just the nature of the city being so big, right? Like 8 million
Yep.
people live here. So all 8 million can't be that dialed in to basketball. But in Memphis, with a population of like 650,000, I'd say a good 80, 90%. I mean, between my Uber and Lyft drivers, hotel concierge, like, and it's not like I walked in saying what I was doing. Just like they just start having conversations, and it's like, you like basketball? Oh man, the Grizzlies. And it's just like, and it was fantastic to see the community rally around. And I actually spent some time, Gabby, talking to an artist who actually painted a mural outside the FedEx Forum. He won a contest where if a T-shirt design that he did won, he would get himself front row courtside seats. And he said to me, he's like, look, Memphis is we're a blue collar city. It's grind. Nothing good ever happens to us. He was like working these menial jobs, but he went to school to be an artist. And, like all struggling artists, like he was struggling, right? It's just like shit wasn't happening. He's like, let me just enter this contest. Worst that'll happen is I'll win these courtside seats. He won the contest, courtside seats. The Memphis people were like, hey, why don't you paint us a mural over here outside of the arena? Okay. He paints the mural. Well, of course, people see the mural, and it's like now Nike's calling him. All these other brands want to work with him to paint, and it's like amazing how those things happen, right? And he's obviously so appreciative and all that, but he's just out here talking about the Grizzlies and the grind and everything, and you really just got a vibe of, man, this city just loves this team, and they're 100% on board. And it's not a thing where it's like, we expect the championship. We just want the good vibes to continue like that, right? That's it. They just want good vibes. And it was kind of nice to experience that, right? Even for someone as jaded as myself when it comes to sports in general.
I love that. I think, and I want to talk about this a little bit more in a sec because you're fire fit, Jarod. My man's looking fresh. I think, you said a lot of things that I want to unpack, right? Like, I think that's the power of social media, of being in a smaller market. I think people always see like bright lights, big city. Sometimes there's lights that are maybe a little less bright in a smaller city, and that's the way in. Like, I think like that's what I really love about the culture now and sports and sneakers is that it's a community everywhere, and it's like to be able to hear that story, I think is really beautiful. Definitely want to check out this artist a bit more. And I think, the only time I've experienced something like that was when I went to Denver for a Broncos game. It like gave me almost like college game day vibes, in the sense where, and I've been to a few college football games. Like I went to Alabama this year, as you know, where the whole city like transforms. Like when I was in Denver for Monday Night Football, it was like right before the Broncos made that run against the Bengals into the playoffs. But I think, it's like windows were painted. Everybody felt like it was game day. So like, I can only imagine how Memphis was. In that.
It was
like 100%.
So I was there for game 2, actually in the arena, obviously, covering it for True Hoop. Shout out to True Hoop. Game day was a vibe, right? Like the whole city was just like lit and ready. They had the band outside. Like, I mean, they were going. It was a Tuesday night. And it was just, I appreciated feeling the playoff energy from the city. And, they trace their roots back. It's interesting because the Memphis Grizzlies, and they go back to the Zach Randolph, Zebo, Tony Allen, Marc Gasol days, Mike Conley, the people who are like in their 30s now were like teenagers-ish when those teams were like doing their thing, or late teens or whatever, right? So now they're like mid-20s, late 20s, whatever. Like, it's just nice to see them like, oh man, we're so good. We're so happy with this team. Of course, John Morant is like electric and fantastic.
Oh, amazing.
Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bain, like that whole squad, like, and they just, the ethos of the city, like you just feel it with all of them, right? And it was a good time. You mentioned my fit, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we had on Ty, and I was like, can you go to an arena with with the bread colorway on? Well, that's not really the vibes that's happening there, right? I mean, it's like that's not the colors of either of the teams, whatever. And you guys were like, yeah, it's cool. Like once it got your fit, whatever. So, I'm there. I got my suit on, no tie, a little zip, half zip or quarter zip sweater, excuse me. And I put on my patent breads and like it was a vibe. It was a look, First time I wore the patent breads. And I figured that'd be a good spot to wear them to indoors. I'm not outside tracing on things, how I feel about that sort of thing.
I
And no,
do.
it was good. Lots of compliments on the patent breads. Sneaker culture Memphis pretty interesting too. I saw a lot of dope kicks on people's feet. So a lot of customs.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
Which I thought was interesting, right? And sneaker culture everywhere is just different, right? I mean, people just bottom line is people like what they like, right? Like, and I love that, right? I did see a lot of Jordans, because it's Jordans in this basketball game. But yeah, it was cool, and for Grizzlies fans, shout out, they won that game, big win. So yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed myself. Looking forward to doing some more playoff basketball coverage this year.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the fact that it's not like Memphis was playing a team that had
Yeah,
red colors, so
exactly.
I think that's a big piece of it. But that's a
Mm-hmm.
classic colorway and a classic silhouette with just like a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of a patent remix. So
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know. That's what I undead stocked when I went to the Clippers game a couple weeks ago as well. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a fire fit, man.
It,
I,
it,
I
I,
feel like Jay. I'm going to embarrass you because I'm like a proud mom right now, but we're going to post that pic on our Instagram of Jarod's first day of school pic. Basically, that's how I'm treating it. Like you get some laser beams going on in the background. I felt like a proud mom when he sent it to me, and I was like, okay, Jay, I know him.
Well,
All right, ladies,
it
step
is
up.
funny. It is funny because those of us who follow us on Instagram, right? Like Gabby's always on with like pics about. I mean, that's just she's doing
Feet
that
in
all
the
the
streets.
time.
That's
Feet in
my
the
vibe
streets,
all the time.
and I often have sneakers on, but often I'm like not taking pictures about it. So I was like, all right, going to the game, and I got the patent breads. Let me actually take a photo of them this time, so that way. And notice they're not. I didn't post them to mine. I
I
literally
was
sent
gonna
it to
say, did you
you.
do a kicks on the court photo though, Jay?
I
Because like
didn't. I mean, I should have, and of course I was down there. I had plenty of opportunity, but like I don't, me, like when I'm there, like I automatically go into like
work
work
mode.
mode. Yeah, I'm not like and it's also kind of somewhat self conscious, like while dudes are warming up, to be like, like trying to be
I do
slick
it
in the
every
corner,
time, Jay. Every time. Every single time.
trying to be slick in the corner, taking photos of my shoes on the court.
They have kicks cam for a reason. Draw attention to it. Next time John Morant's gonna like dap you up during the warm ups, being like, I see you, my guy. All right. Go
Perhaps,
with those time
perhaps.
friends. Yeah.
Speaking of John, I also paid attention to game day presentation, which I know is something that you focus on a lot.
I geek
I,
out over that. Yeah.
I thought it was very good. I thought the transitions from the in-house teams and the little games they play, like what city is the home of, all that stuff, and you got to win gift cards and all that. I thought that was great. The in-house DJ. So I've always said like the best DJs in the NBA are the Hawks DJ, the Nets DJ, and the Grizzlies DJ, and they did not disappoint. Grizzlies DJ was killing as always.
Okay.
It had a lot of like a lot of the down south feel to it, but also played a bunch of like East Coast. It was just a very fun, musical ambiance. And of course, the big grizzly bear like climbed up to the top of the building and all
Ooh,
kinds of
love that.
yeah, all that. They did in fact play whoop that trick in the which in the third quarter. John Morant's little daughter dancing to it after the game. People were like, oh,
Amazing.
John, did you see your daughter? Oh, that's her favorite song. And I was like, it is. She's like one,
It's
two,
a different
like
time. We're officially old now. I hate to bring it up, but we're old.
apparently, and no judgment. I was like, you know what? Whatever. Listen, everybody enjoy, have fun, like do your thing. But no, it's always it's funny when you're covering the Nets or whatever, or going to MSG as often as I do, and you work in media, all the ins and outs, the places to go, what secret bathrooms are where nobody's gonna, all that jazz, right? Because these are your home arenas. When you go to an arena on the road for the first time, you're like, mother, right? It's like
It's weird, right? You're like, I don't know where I think this is where I'm supposed to go.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
ask because you're like, I have a pass
A pass,
on.
right? So I should know where
No.
I'm going, and you're always trying to find that. And I mean, of course, you're in the media center, you can find your secret bathrooms down there and all that. But it's like you're just trying to like, it sounds terrible, but like not be with the masses, just because like everyone's going to the bathroom like in between court, and it's like I don't want to wait on these a
You're
million
there to
long
do a
lines, and
job.
Exactly.
It's different. I get it. I
Exactly.
feel like at the Clippers game, they were like, I don't think these ladies are supposed to be here. Also, you don't usually just see two women courtside at a basketball game unless they're like players' girlfriends or family
Yeah.
or things like that. It is, and I don't mean that to sound not progressive, but like that's just the reality of what it is.
Right.
You don't usually
Sports.
see two
Yeah.
women going to a sports game. But every stop, Jarod, because I'm the same way. I want to scope the territory. I want to know where the things are before the game starts. So I'm like ready to go, plant my route. People looked at us like, "Are you supposed to be here?" And I was like, "Just like wear my ticket around my neck. I know it's digital, but like, I promise. I know I look lost, you guys, but I'm really not."
No, when I'm covering a game, I'm always the arena 3 hours before tip, especially during the playoffs. Like regular season, like maybe I'll come like 2 hours before tip or 90 minutes before tip, but in the playoffs, 3 hours before tip for sure. Especially if it's a new arena, because I got to get the lay of the land, right? Like where am I going? Where am I sitting first? Where's my seat? Like how do I what's the elevator situation? How am I getting up and down, ready to go? Like but again, it was a good time, and shout out to the good folks in Memphis, Grizzlies communication staff taking care of me while I was down there. Yeah, and so maybe we'll do a thing where like I do a couple more playoff visits this postseason, and we do some more like see what else feats in the streets happening out there. Do some more. Yeah, this is your
Yes,
jam. You love it.
I
You're all
stand
about.
for this, Jay. I
I know.
stand for
I
this.
know. This is your this is your jam. I'm gonna watch out. I started saying things, and you're like, oh, that's what we're gonna do. Something interesting, movie wise, Gabs. There is a movie coming out with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck where it's talking about how Nike signed Michael Jordan back in the day in 1984. Ben
Year I
Affleck
was born on the 23rd. Just put that out there, y'all.
Ben Affleck will play Phil Knight, Nike founder, and Matt Damon will play Sonny Vaccaro, who was a sneaker exec at the time. What I find so interesting about that is like, okay, like cool, but I mean, the thing is about signing Michael Jordan. Why do we not know who's playing that dude? Like, why isn't that the most important thing that we're talking about right now? No disrespect to Phil Knight and Sonny Vaccaro, important figures, of course, but it's Michael Jordan we're talking about here, and that's whenever you're playing like anybody, like it's like that's always tough, right? It's like, ooh, who are they gonna get to do this? It's always a challenge.
I have some thoughts on that. I wonder if option number one, is the real Michael Jordan going to play Michael Jordan? Because, I wouldn't be surprised because I know how he's like, that's how he is. Like, no one can do
Right.
Michael Jordan but Michael Jordan.
Right.
2, is Michael B. Jordan going to dress up as Michael A. Jordan? I love that. I loved that joke in Space Jam 2 where it's like, we got Michael Jordan, but it's Michael B. Jordan. Sorry. So I wonder if that's going to be him or if it's going to be an up and comer, right? I also like Ben Affleck is Phil Knight. Like they couldn't find a ginger. Ed Sheeran wasn't available. Like come on, no shade on Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is living his best life right now in the Bennifer.
Shut up. Wait.
The Bennifer redo.
So speaking of that, have we like transposed back to like the early 2000s? Like what?
Jarod, I saw some low rise jeans the other day, so I'm just like we're like one Jenko away from basically time traveling back to the early 2000s here.
Kudos to them, by the way. How do you think Diddy feels about that? By the way.
I think Diddy's like, I don't give a fuck. I don't know.
Now
Diddy doesn't give a fuck. No.
Not. It wasn't feeling so great back then.
No, back then maybe not so much. I mean, what about poor Jennifer Garner?
Well,
you know what I mean. Like, there's a lot of people here that are like, maybe in their feelings, but good for Ben. The glow up is real for him. Jennifer Lopez is like not a real human to me.
I mean, she is so beautiful. Like it's just
stunning, ageless. Like, tell me who your plastic surgeon is, girl. I got hook a sister up.
But no plastic surgery, right?
No. This is what I'm going to set the record straight for all you men out there who think that like right now you probably think, look at Gabby just wakes up so fresh face. Maybe she's got a lash on, but this is her natural face. No. Sorry, ladies, I'm going to reel behind the curtain. When you men are like, we like that no makeup look, that means you don't want us to look cakey. Like you want us to look more natural and embrace our natural beauty. When I say plastic surgery, I mean, there's like some kind of injectables, there's hydration, there's skin treatments, there's all these things.
But not not nose restructuring or like face altering is what you're saying.
I mean, maybe she might have gotten a little filler in something, a little nip, a little tuck. But when people do things well in Hollywood, you don't know that these things are happening because they're subtle, right? Like all of a sudden the Kardashians have a new face, but they've been working on that new face for 10 years. So like it's been a subtle transition. But I also want to say that like, if that is your bag, tell me, because I want to do the same shit. I'm not hating on any of this. Women, do your thing. Like J-Lo looks fucking perfection.
Mhm.
Cher, I don't know how, I think Cher must have like made a deal with like Death Becomes Her and had the serum. I don't know what's going on. It doesn't make sense. It's amazing. I want to know more about it. When I say these things, I do want to say on record that like this is something that I feel like women should feel comfortable or not. If you don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. But like that is not something that is a realistic standard. Like Penelope Cruz did an interview a few years ago about how she sleeps 11 hours a day and that's her beauty secret. Okay, I would get fired from my job if I slept 11 hours a day. Like, what's that like? You know what I mean? But
Are you
like,
saying, Penelope, we don't believe you? Is that what you're saying?
no, I'm saying we believe her, but like, must be nice to sleep 11 hours a day. What's that like? I'm lucky if I get 6, girl. Come on. You know, and I just think like that unrealistic Hollywood stuff, and they still get photoshopped on top of that, but is just I would be remiss if I didn't call out that, like, sure, she looks natural. And I think she's done the right things. I'm not saying she's had plastic surgery. I don't know. But whatever it is, she's doing all the right things and she looks stunning. So you do you, girl. I just want to glow up like J-Lo. That's all I got to say.
Or, I mean, Jennifer Garner looks fantastic as well.
All of them. I will say, yes, agree. Well, not all of them, most of them.
You're like, all of them. We'll take them all.
I'll take what I can get, Jay. You know, I'm thirsty in all aspects of my life. So
all right, we talked about some things happening in the culture, popular culture in the streets right now. How are you feeling right now, sneaker wise? Are you like got your eye on some things, or are you like, because I just want to say for me, there's something on the calendar right now that's like, ooh, I'm jumping at, but there's some things that like have come out in the past that I'm kind of like trying to go back into, right? Amy Leondor, New Balance, right? I'm trying to slowly like, how can I find? I think there are 1 or 2 pieces that I'm like, all right, I know I got to find it on resale, but like I'm willing to pay a premium, not an exorbitant premium, but a premium to find a couple things.
I gotta ask. I have so many questions from that one sentence alone. What is your cap? Because I feel like what is the most I would pay for a sneaker? Like, for example, I really love the Melody Sani 1 mids. Never copped them. I kind of slept on them. Probably should have gotten them years ago and I never did. And it's like it's like now that I have satisfied my Yeezy Wave Runner fix, and I have an East Coast pair and a West Coast pair because I have a problem. Fair, self-awareness, but this is like the new thing that I've kind of become obsessed with. And for me, it's not that I can't afford it if I saved up enough, right? Or like put a couple dollars aside every month, but I cannot pay $1,500 for a sneaker that I know costs under $200.
No. That's
on principle alone, no matter how much I love them. Like for me, I'm like, oh, that's a vacation.
Yeah. 4 figures for a sneaker? No, not doing it. Sorry. Like that's insanity. Like I look at it like, so if for a guy, a nice pair of like dress shoes, like for a guy, right? Like let's say you want to get like cap toes or something, you might spend like 300 and change, right? So I'm like, all right, for sneakers, 500 I think is a reasonable amount to go. I'm not really trying to go above 500. Now, if you tell me it's a pair that I really want, and it's like, all right, Jay, but with like the shipping, whatever, 590. All right. Once we start getting to that 750, Nope.
I'm right there with you. I also will say that like dress shoes, you're not buying on the resale market too. So like
correct.
That resale would be a little bit different, but I get it. It's like dollar for dollar.
But like, $300 is what you pay for like a nice pair of like, I don't know, Kenneth Coles, or like not Kenneth Cole, like Allen Edmonds, or like, one of those like a nice dress shoe for guys, it's what you pay. But like, I'm not.
Yeah. I think looking ahead, like, you guys know this. I went a little crazy at the beginning of the year. Got really excited, paid off my credit card, and I was like, what better way to celebrate paying off your credit card by buying more shit?
Yeah.
But I paid cash, y'all. All in cash. But I don't know. I'm with you. I'm at a point where I want to really look at my collection. I also got new sneaker shelves, and I have too many sneakers to fit on these sneaker shelves for the space. So I think that is the universe telling me I need to curate a little bit more, see what I'm actually wearing, what I'm not. I love wearing my kicks. So I think if there's things that like, I have a few things where I got 2 different sizes. So I want to sell the size that didn't fit because it's hard to get the right size. And if it doesn't fit, it is what it is. So
what are we doing?
I'm looking at sites even like Trade Block where I can trade some of my favorites and see kind of where I can move and flex and kind of pivot things around. Yeah, there's nothing that I'm like crazy about. I went crazy for the Cause Sakai Blazer lows. I love those. I think the stuffing in them is it just needs a little more breaking in for me. But that's like an unexpected style that I'm really into. I feel like That's something that's a little different from what I normally rock. Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you right now where I want to go back and I've been looking at my list of things that I've really wanted, right? Like for Air Max Day, you guys know I got the Tinker sketch, the Air Max ones. That was something that I've been eyeing for a while and the price was reasonable. So it was something that like, that's the kind of addition to my collection that I'm looking to do right now and really just make it about things that I love. And not that I don't love all of my sneaker babies. I love them all, but like I think some of them could be in a home that loves them more than I do. Right now, I'm fostering. I'm fostering.
Do the equation like their children. Well, they'd be in a home where they're better loved. I will say this summer, I'll probably pick up another pair of Puma lows, suede lows, just because to me, like, first of all, yes, they're not $500, right? So like they're right, and that's like everyday wear in the summer for me, right? Like, so once I find a nice color that I'm like, ooh, like I got my blues that I like now. If I see a color that I really like, yeah, this will be good for the summer. And then I love my Stan Smiths. So last year they did the Kermit Miss Piggy Stan Smiths. So they bring those back. Bring those back. I might do that. Like, so again, I summertime I like those, but again, that's gonna cost me what, $65, maybe 80 if they do like Kermit the Frog or whatever. But those are that's not those aren't major. We're not saying, oh, let me find those Amy Leon doors. Let me find those aren't those. So I'm gonna do a few of those because those are like sort of like every year purchases. But the big things, yeah, unless we see something real, serious.
And I always think of Ben whenever I think this because, like, so for me, my sneakers by the door that, like, if the building was on fire and I needed to put on something quickly to run out in, what would I toss on? Like, what is by my door all the time? I have Adidas Superstars, and I know, like, for me, that like Stan Smiths are cool. They're, me, I like a little bit more color in them, but I think, even just going back, like knowing that I brought my rose gold Superstars to Coachella and that they were going to stay in the desert, like the shell toe was yellowing a little bit because I've had them for so long. Like, me, I look for that reason to buy new ones. I think that there's something beautiful about a shoe like that or like the Puma suede lows because you can always buy them. They're a classic staple.
Every year they're available.
And they're affordable. And I think like that to me is something that like, I have people ask me all the time, like, how do I get into sneakers? What can I buy? How do I get a Jordan 1? And I know I always joke, like, you can't unless you want to buy something at crazy resale, which you can and do that. Like I do that too. That's like a part of the culture now. But I do think there is something to be said about just those like regular pairs that you can find all the time. And like, I know Adidas, I had no idea they had so many different colorways and textures and patterns for the Superstar that like, because that's not where their marketing dollars go, they're just there and they launch and they come out. Like I'm excited about the Hello Kitty Nikes that are coming out this summer. I think like those like different kind of collabs, I think that'll be tougher to get, but like a Superstar, like there's some cute Disney Superstars right now on Adidas that I'm like, all right, let me try to not buy 7 pairs. That's the hardest part for me, honestly.
Let me not buy 7 pairs.
1 speed, Jarod. I have 1 speed. That's
I know. It's always on a million. Oh, I know. Well, folks, as always, thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back with some guests in the next few weeks. We're getting closer to our centennial episode 100. Don't know what we're doing for that yet, but something. We gotta plan something. That's gonna be very soon. Summertime. I mean, look, hopefully by then it'll be a little warmer out. It's starting to get real annoyed with this weather right now on the East Coast. I'm ready to put the winter coat away and,
Jarod, why do you think I'm in Cali?
Well, I know, because you know where the weather's nice. But folks, we are part of the Count the Dings Network. As always, thank you for tuning in to all the great shows there. The original Bomb Show, Woke Bros with Waz and Nando, Crypto Bros, the HBO Winning Time podcasts, all the good jams that we have out here. And of course, thank you for tuning in to hear us. We're at Kicks and Shit Show on all social media platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all that, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're everywhere. And until next time, peace.